From the week of November 28th to December 5th in 2024, the game Brotato is free on the Epic Games Store for consumers to purchase. Brotato is a roguelike game with elements of permanent progression such as unlocking new weapons, characters, and difficulties as time goes on. In this game, you play as a Brotato against hordes of fish monsters that will try and swarm and beat you down, but using in-game currency known as resources, you can build up an arsenal to fight back these fishy foes. Starting up the game, the player is met with a title screen depicting one of the playable characters surrounded by an unending horde of the enemies that you'll face in the game proper. Upon selecting the start game option, the player is given a choice of several introductory characters that each specialize in a particular damage type or is generally well-rounded. Remembering the strengths and weaknesses of your character is crucial in build crafting and knowing what to buy later into your run. The gameplay of Brotato is that of a top-down shooter where the player finds themselves on a square map with wave after wave of enemies that will spawn in an attempt to stop the player. The game is set up into 60-second waves that will repeatedly spawn enemies until the timer gives out up to round 20. On round 19, the game will give players an option to either face the final boss or go into an endless wave mode where you try and reach a high score and see just how absurd your arsenal can get. The character you have chosen at the beginning will largely determine the upgrade path that you want as you level up and purchase items with some characters, even making certain damage upgrades and items worthless due to the character modifiers. Your character affects what damage types are most effective and are the number one factor in build crafting. There are 4 different types of damage that can be used to decimate your foes, being melee, ranged, elemental, and engineering. While some weapons do use odd stats such as lifesteal for scaling, most will use one or multiple of these core 4 to determine their total damage output. Each damage type has their own strengths and weaknesses, so knowing how you like to play the game can certainly push a player to favor 1 or 2 damage types over the others. Upgrades to the player can either come from items in the shop, level up perks, or even as random drops found mid-wave that can be collected or sold off at the end wave screen. When purchasing items, the game does provide a helpful list of your current attributes on the right-hand side of the screen to better know what stats you have built up from prior upgrades. These stat boosts can range from increasing your speed and damage to even improving your odds for high rarity items to be available in future choices. In addition to the single player experience, Brotato includes a co-op function where 2 players on the same PC or using a remote share service like Parsec will be able to traverse the waves of the game as a team. Resources collected throughout each wave are thankfully shared between each player, so there is no competition in trying to grab the loot first. Item drops, however, are randomly distributed no matter who picks up the crate mid-level. The gameplay of Brotato is simple in of itself, and that carries through to the game's stylistic choices. The art of Brotato is a simple one, as most characters are simple shapes and monotone colors. That said, each item that can be picked up is both rendered in the item screen along with a version for the character themselves, leading to the player looking different in every wave. As for the music, the game features a mix of different EDM styles with a heavy focus on synthetic tracks of varying intensity throughout the game. Overall, the game is one that I will certainly be coming back to over time to play around here and there. The simplicity of the game takes me back to the time of Flash games, where many games that were once played on web browsers had a similar style of gameplay to Brotato. I really enjoyed the game as one that has quite a bit of replayability for me, trying to get each and every character to a point where they have defeated the final boss of Wave 20, and the ability to get different achievements on top of that will likely have me coming back for round 2 whenever I get bored. I would recommend getting the game either for free or even for the full price, as it's only $5 on the Epic Games Store. Thank you for sticking to the end of the video, feel free to subscribe, and as always, thank you for visiting the Gamer House. See you next time.